We had a lot of data at EHA, sort of some of it echoing the information that was shared at ASCO. I think the most important thing on the Belantamab Mafodotin story was really continued strength to the DREAMM-2 information. As you know, DREAMM-2 was the use of Belantamab Mafodotin as a single agent given every 3 weeks to patients with penta-refractory triple-class resistant myeloma, so a very, very vulnerable population of exquisite unmet medical need. And essentially, the response signal from there is solidly over 30%, 34% to be precise. And the durability of response is reflected by an encouraging DOR and a very solid PFS in this population, which typically sits at around 4 months for effective agents. Now, on the face of it, that may not sound that great, but in fact, in the myeloma space, that's real as a median. And the DORs for responding patients were pretty impressive. The data we presented on DREAMM-2 was specifically looking at the lyophilized preparation of Belantamab Mafodotin, which is a much more convenient way of delivering the drug. The original preparation took a lot of logistics at the pharmacy level to put together. My lyophilized formulation is a much simpler exercise. Interestingly, in our cohort of lyophilized patients, the response rates and the durability of response was really quite encouraging. It was actually better than the overall population. But I think by virtue of the numbers involved, it would be an overstatement to say there's something about the lyophilized that's better. I don't think that's could be said or is necessarily true, but it certainly was a nice validation of the DREAMM-2 cohort. So I think, or the DREAMM-2 study overall, I think the real takeaway message for everyone with the DREAMM-2 work is that it's the platform combined with the supportive study of DREAMM-1 for a potential accelerated approval for Belantamab Mafodotin this year. And as we now know, there will be an oncology drug advisory committee at the FDA to look at the risk-benefit, because the challenge, of course, with Belantamab has been this question of corneal toxicity, which we now know is a keratopathy. And in fact, that, certainly in our experience, has been a very manageable toxicity and is very much dose and schedule dependent. And again, with careful monitoring and especially with the interval and dose being adjusted, is actually, in our experience, a very manageable side effect. So we're very hopeful that we will be in a position to have an accelerated approval for Belantamab Mafodotin later this year. In terms of DREAMM-5, we presented that just to show a study in progress, and I was particularly glad we did because it gives an illustration of why. Obviously, DREAMM-2 is monotherapy. DREAMM-5 is obviously a combination trial designed to explore a couple of important things. The most important one, in my opinion, is that in BCMA expression, gamma secretase is a very important mechanism of modulating BCMA expression, and the inhibition of gamma secretase is actually important in upregulating BCMA expression and enhancing it. And so in that context, we're combining Belantamab Mafodotin with a gamma secretase inhibitor, this agent's actually just an oral agent, and it's actually been previously tested in the setting of Alzheimer's disease, interesting, a frail population, and is certainly quite safe in that group of patients. So we've just started dosing patients with this, and obviously those data will hopefully emerge, but we're very hopeful that mechanistically that'll be very exciting. The other important aspects of DREAMM-5 were combination strategies with other antibodies to enhance T-cell function. And the goal here is to try and see if 2 antibodies is better than 1, and that a very targeted approach with the combinatorial strategy of the antibody-drug conjugate and then these T-cell modulating antibodies will actually generate a real immunotherapeutic platform that's beneficial. And so that was the thrust of DREAMM-5, and it sort of points to the new direction, Charlie, that we're going with Belantamab Mafodotin, which is combination strategies, and at the same time, a very careful exploration of dose and schedule. And right now, the 2.5 milligram per kilo dose is where we are, and the fact of the matter is that going beyond that will probably not be the case. It'll be rather combining it. And obviously 3.5 milligrams per kilo was actually effective, but the dose of 2.5 is being taken forward because we do think that's associated with less in the way of side effects and hopefully more in the way of durability of response as a result.